Kerri. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. It looks like we're having a little bit of a glitch still, so hopefully it'll be okay.
Yes, a little bit of a pause in our stream, but that's okay.
Yes. Okay. So, you were just telling me before we came on that there's some positive things happening out in the market today as far as rates and stuff a little bit. What's going on out there?
We've actually seen some improvement all week. Starting Monday, we have had some positive green numbers in mortgage-backed securities, which we haven't seen in probably a week and a half. So that's good news.
Fabulous. Okay. So hopefully that trend continues. I keep hearing, it's like it's still kind of rocky a little bit right now, but as we get into the end of the year and into 2024, it should be right back where we were again. So let's keep hoping, right?
Exactly. We thought that the numbers were going to be better by now, but things are not really coming in as they're supposed to. The Fed is just not seeing that we're already starting to decrease in inflation and that we're really in a recession. They don't believe that we are. They just think we're going towards one.
Okay. So, I've been thinking, we're going to talk about HELOC loans today. And I was thinking, like ways you can build your wealth. I mean, and it's like you can budget, you can like start a business, you can, try to up your salaries, you can get some more education levels. That way you can, go out and get better jobs. You can really budget and live below your means. You can invest in stocks, and then there's real estate. And, real estate has been one of those things where, I mean, had we not had it, I don't know if we would have had a savings account really, because that's kind of where we invested most of our money and did that. So it's going to kind of pull into what we're talking about today. So we're talking about HELOC loans and, what you can do with some of the equity, because I know a lot of people, the market did so crazy well, recently and stuff like that, that you have a lot of extra, funds in there, equity in there. And you're going to tell us about what we're going to do about that, right?
Exactly. I'd love to.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pull that on and you can control it, right?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Love it.
So yes, today we're talking about accessing our home equity through a HELOC. During the pandemic, tons and tons of us refinanced because the rates were so amazing. I know for myself, we got refinanced into a 2.5%. I don't want to touch it, but you know what? I have like over $250,000 worth of equity in my home. Yeah. And I can't access all of it, but because you have to leave a certain percentage in there. But what a HELOC is, break it down. It's a home equity line of credit. And it's a revolving credit line, much like a credit card that you pay, you draw funds from it. And then as you pay it down, those funds become available again. So the nice thing is you can get approved for a HELOC and have it there as a backup emergency, or you can choose to use the funds right away. So the equity is the difference between the current market value of a home and the outstanding balance on the mortgage that you.
Okay, so I've got a question for you already. Okay, yeah. So you said it's kind of like a credit card. So like, like if I go get a credit card, let's say it's for $5,000 and I go put $5,000, I pay it all up and I got another $5,000 I can go use again. So you're saying that's kind of how it works, and correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, and there are some terms where the line of credit is no longer accessible to you. And that is in here. There's a draw period. So.
Okay. So if you're not borrowing the money and it's just sitting there in like in a HELOC account, I'm assuming kind of like your credit card account, it's like, you got money sitting there at your disposal. Do you have to pay interest on that when it's just sitting there, or is it only on money you used?
It's only on money that you use. If it's just sitting there, it's kind of like being in a bank. Because you can access.
I've never had one of those, so I don't know. So that's why I wanted to ask.
No, it's pretty cool.
Okay, continue on.
Cool. So,
all right, let's hear more about it. I'm excited.
So a HELOC, you need collateral. So your home becomes the collateral. And if you have a first mortgage, that's your normal mortgage, it winds up being a second lien on your property. So your home is serving as collateral for that new line of credit that you're getting. So there are limits to how much you can borrow, like I said, in every equation, there's a loan to value. So you have to keep, in the particular one that we do, you have to keep at least 15% equity in your property. So if you have 30%, that means that you can actually draw 15% of that. So half of it.
Okay.
So kind of goes, and it does, you have to be credit worthy. You can't have recent lates on your mortgage. And it's also going to be much like when you purchased your home where there's a debt to income ratio. They need to make sure that you can still afford that. I'm on a live stream. And then it is a revolving credit line like we talked about. So it operates like a credit card in that it provides that revolving line of credit.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about the interruption there.
Okay.
So this is how
it
works. So there's a draw period, and that draw period determines how long you have access to those funds. So you get to choose most programs. You can choose how long you can draw from that line of credit. Most often it's a 5 or 10 year. And so during that time, then you can borrow funds during that entire time, but you usually have 10 to 20, even 30 years to repay it. So your ability to access the funds will end, but you can still continue paying on it if you had a large balance.
Okay. So this would be good. Like, I mean, if I don't know, I wanted to fix up my house, for instance, right? Like I had some equity in my house and maybe I was actually going to put it on the market and sell it. That would be that would be something I could do, pay it off. And then could you get it paid? And then you would just pay it off when you're closed at home, right? I mean, if your goal was to
you wouldn't have to pay it off before you close the loan. When you do close, so if you were to sell your current home and buy a new one, whenever you do that, escrow is going to order a payoff statement from your current servicer. They would do the same thing with the first and the second lien. They would just call and get the payoff, and it would be deducted from any funds that you would get at closing.
Okay, perfect. So it kind of ends when your home ends. Perfect. Got that. Totally makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay, just want to make sure. I have to ask those questions because I don't see anyone else out there asking questions. So if you have questions today, please ask them because that always makes it more fun because then it makes us think even harder.
Yeah. No, I love the questions. It's great because I just kind of do this every day. So I know what is involved. You guys don't. So yeah, please definitely ask those questions.
Perfect.
And our slides went away.
Oh, goodness. Sorry about that. I did bump it out somehow. Didn't There we are. It's back.
All right. Perfect. Oh,
what was?
There again, not again. There we go. So interest rates. Everybody wants to know about the interest rate. Well, HELOCs often have a variable interest rate. The one that we offer here at Fairway is actually a fixed rate, so it will not fluctuate over time, which is really nice because
I've been doing research. I have been doing research, and that's been kind of one of the negatives about the HELOC loans is because it is a variable, at least a lot of them are. And so, if it's a higher rate, then, or if it was like a lower rate, then it could go up to a higher rate. And so you're kind of whatever rate it is at that time then, right?
Exactly.
Is that what I'm understanding? Because a lot of them are variables, but yours are fixed. So yours are, it's like if the rates, what the rates are right now, 6, 7.
Well,
they're
on
that rate,
HELOC,
that's what it's going to be.
A little bit more. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the good thing is, on a variable one, often they can go so high that it closes down your line of credit because you've maxed out that line of credit. So they can close it down on you at any time if the rate gets too high.
Okay. So if, for instance, right now, because the rates are a little bit higher, I'm just saying this because I'm trying to make sure I understand it because you always want to read it and understand the full thing, right? So if the rates are a little bit higher and say they drop, though, you would still be at the higher rate. So if you were borrowing it and you were borrowing it for like, let's say 5 years, you would be at that rate for 5 years. And if you didn't want to borrow it, then you would just pay it off and not touch it then again, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And it's not like a normal mortgage loan where some have prepayment penalties. These do not have prepayment penalties. Okay. So if you decide that you want to close it because you're just not using it or new rates come out and you find that there's lower interest rates, then you can definitely close it and then choose to open a new one, I guess.
Okay. I just was wondering. And are there a lot of fees to do this?
There are some fees involved, yes, because they're going to have some, usually like for the one that we do. You have to have a notary come to your house. You don't have to go anywhere. They'll come to you. So you have to pay for the notary. There are some documents that need to be filed with the county because it is putting another lien on your property. So that has to be recorded with the county. And then there are some origination fees as well.
Okay. And do you have to pay for an appraisal?
So most times you would if needed, but once again, the product that we offer has blockchain technology. You can start the application process and complete it within 15 minutes. And this blockchain technology actually pulls a property valuation for you while you're filling out the application. So you have an estimated value on your home. And then that's how they are able to say, you are approved for X amount of dollars. So in 15 minutes, you can have a decision. And from there, you can have your funds in as little as 5 days. So this product we offer, I'm super excited about because you can be in process for like 2 months to get a HELOC from a bank.
So since I've been on Prime, because it's Prime Amazon days, right? And everybody's out shopping, right? Since I've been shopping a lot, I'm just thinking, shopping. So, you could do home improvements. You could do, what else could you do? Like I saw education. That was another one.
Yeah. And we're going to go through that on probably one of the next slides. And this kind of just describes, that's okay. That's okay. So most of the time there are HELOCs, you can access them through a check, a designated credit card, transfers. So there's usually you'll just speak to your lender and they'll give you the options for that. So here, how are they commonly used?
I knew it was coming up.
And a big one right now is definitely that credit cards have extremely high interest rates right now. So when inflation started to rise, credit card companies started to increase the interest rates on your credit cards. So really go and look at your statements because some of them got put up to like 28 to 30%. So when I say that the HELOC might be 11% interest or 10% interest, well, when your credit card is going to be 28 to 30%, I want you to do the math and tell me which one's going to be a better one to consolidate your debt. And then you're just putting everything into one payment. And that really can help you pay it off faster. But yeah, renovations, debt consolidation, large expenses. One of those could be considered using equity from your property to purchase an investment property, which is really what we want to focus on today because we're talking about real estate and real estate investment. So as always, you want to take warnings that really do your education, really do your research so that you can make the best decision and know the pitfalls of getting one as well. So good that you've been doing a lot of research.
I was reading up on that too, so I'm ready.
Oh, whoops. We just skipped ahead there. So
yeah. I know that there's some risk involved with the HELOC loans because if you're putting up your house, for instance, for collateral. So if for some reason, if you decide to go and do a business venture and your business totally doesn't make it, it tanks, you could lose your house if you don't have the ability, if you're using that as your collateral and it's totally sunk, right? So that would be one case where it could be a negative, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And then let me see if I can remember some more of them. Then there was the ability to repay. You have to be able to repay it. Otherwise, you can go into foreclosure. Is that right?
Yes, because if the first lien priority is your initial mortgage, but so I can tell you, anybody can really put a lien on your property. If you owe somebody $100, it'll probably cost them more to file with the county and put a lien against your property, but they can do it for as little as $100. So it's good sometimes to have your title checked too, but definitely your primary home would get paid off first. The first lien has priority, and then whatever's left over would pay off the HELOC. So yes, that you could potentially lose your home, but that's why we have those loan to value ratios so that you have equity left. And also look at your debt to income ratios too, because we want to make sure you do have the ability to repay. We don't want to put a person in a position unless you quit your job to start the new business. And so you don't have an income coming in anymore. That could definitely be an issue. You want to get a job right away.
Right. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay. So what are some other things?
So the one thing that is a positive about it is if you do purchase an investment property, you're going to get cash flow from your investment property. So whatever you are paying for the HELOC, you could definitely get back from purchasing something that can give you a return on your money, like an investment property.
Or doing a business, right? Because that would be the same thing too. I mean, as long as the business took off and you're doing well, it could have the opposite effect too, obviously.
Oh yeah, there's always the yin and yang to everything, right?
Yeah, so that is a great thing. Okay, so tell me some more.
So I think we've gone over, a lot of it, but just make sure you're always doing your research. You want to make sure that you have all of the information and just don't go into it blindly. It says on here, tax implications, consult with a tax professional to understand the tax implications. For a while, HELOC interest was able to be written off. I believe that it still is, because I know we had one, and last year we were able to deduct the interest just like a mortgage interest statement.
Okay.
But I'm not a tax accountant, so I cannot
definitely
say 100%.
ask. I was going to ask about that. How does that affect your taxes and stuff too? So, but it doesn't go like when you sell your house, you get like a capital gain. So that wouldn't have anything like that if you were to pull in money, and it wouldn't have any gains taxes like that or anything. I mean, it just mostly be like a loan, to be totally different, right?
It's just a loan. But once again, I'm not an accountant, so I couldn't give 100% clarity on that. But as far as I know, you're not gaining anything, because you're just tapping into equity on your property.
Okay. And does it make sense for everyone to do one of these? I mean, I know you can do medical expenses too. So I mean, if somebody had a medical emergency, they could do it for medical reasons, right? Education was another one that I think I read about, that you could do them for. Investments, and then home improvements were kind of like the big ones, I thought. Was there anything else that I'm missing?
No, I mean, unless
I did do a little bit of research. I just wanted to make sure. Oh yeah, debts, yes, and have that too. True.
Yeah, because even if
travel?
you paid it off, it's not accruing interest, so you could just sit there and have it as a rainy day fund. Because how often do you all of a sudden have something catastrophic happen, like the water heater in your home breaks or your car breaks down, you need new tires, and you don't always have slush funds. So if you do have a HELOC and you pay it off, it is something that you could keep open just in case. And like I said, if it's paid off 100%, you pay 0% on $0, right? So.
Right. Okay. That was great information. I learned a whole lot today. I hope everyone else did. Again, thank you for coming in and sharing your wealth of information, Kerri. I appreciate you as always.
My pleasure.
She's here if you need her for, to help do a HELOC loan, and then go buy an investment property and start making some money on the side there. It sounds like a great plan to me.
Exactly. Talk to me first and then go see Niki to get an investment property. Makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. All right. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe and follow button so you can watch all of our episodes. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.